Yippee-ki-yay movie lovers, it's Jan here, and in this video I'll be explaining everything you need to know about the ending to Venom and how the various symbiotes in the movie set up future sequels. Plus, keep watching to the end where I'll reveal some sneaky Easter eggs and little details you might have missed in the post-credits, and the details of my new Venom giveaway. In case you hadn't already guessed, of course I'll be talking spoilers, so take care if you haven't seen the movie yet. At the end of the film, Venom defeats Drake and Riot by sabotaging their rocket launch, causing it to explode, and Venom initially appears to perish during the flaming fallout and says goodbye, Eddie. Eddie later has a reunion with Anne, who believes he's free of the symbiote, but it's revealed that Venom is still alive and they're talking to Eddie in his head. Eddie clearly wants to get back together with her, and Venom chips in, "You belong with us, Annie," a hint that we'll see She-Venom again in the potential sequel, and I'll talk more about Anne's She-Venom shortly. Eddie decides to keep Venom's existence a secret from Anne for the moment, and this scene reminded me of the end of the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie where Peter Parker hides his feelings from Mary Jane, although they eventually got together in the next movie. So what's the future for Venom and his fellow symbiotes? Well, the ending sets up how Eddie and Venom will interact with each other going forward. Earlier in the movie we saw that often the symbiotes will eat their human hosts from the inside, which seems to be why they keep travelling from planet to planet, devouring their hosts until there aren't any left. Venom's a bit different from his fellow symbiotes, and he gains an appreciation for Earth after he climbs up the skyscraper and looks out over the city in a rather Spider-Man-esque moment. Although Venom started off by forcing his host Eddie to do whatever Venom wanted, by the end of the movie Eddie has found he can control Venom somewhat and quiet him down. Eddie also decides to teach Venom about right and wrong and how he can't eat or hurt good people. Venom needs to eat though, of course, otherwise he'll end up eating Eddie's insides, and we discover Venom has a taste for tater tots and chocolate when they go to the store for food, which leads to the scene where Venom eats the thug who's been shaking down Mrs. Chen. I guess this means that Eddie will have to keep hunting down bad guys as a way to keep Venom's hunger at bay. As for Anne's future, there's a big hint to that in the scene where we discover she's bonded with the Venom symbiote and has become She-Venom. She saves Eddie as he's about to be killed by Drake's henchman, then makes out with him, at which point Venom flips back from her to Eddie. Venom's reply of "not today" when she demands to join the fight against Riot is a tease that She-Venom will be back for a much bigger part in a possible Venom sequel. And of course, Anne did end up fighting ugly, as she put it, when she disabled Riot temporarily during the rocket launch sequence by turning up the loudspeakers. The Venom sequel is also going to have an even more powerful villain than Riot, which I'll explain next, and I think Eddie and Venom will likely need Anne's She-Venom powers against him. Okay, so Venom's next villain is set up in the first post-credit scene where we see Eddie making his way to San Quentin prison. As he mentioned previously to Anne, he's got a job reporting again and has what he calls the interview of a lifetime with serial killer Cletus Cassidy. In this scene we finally meet Woody Harrelson, who said that his tiny role in this film sets him up for a much bigger part in a Venom sequel. The prison guard calls Cassidy Red, a little reference to the villain's red hair and the red and black colour of the Carnage symbiote, which bonds with Cassidy in the comics. As Cassidy talks to Eddie, he threatens that when he gets out of prison there'll be carnage, a very on-the-nose nod to the fact we'll be seeing Cassidy become a host for the Carnage symbiote in the next movie. In the comics, Eddie Brock and Cletus Cassidy end up sharing time in prison together, something the movie alludes to by the fact that the imprisoned Cassidy asked specifically for Eddie to interview him. In the books, Cassidy became Carnage when Eddie's pregnant symbiote gave birth and the spawn attached itself to Cletus. In the film, Eddie told Venom to keep quiet during the visit, and I didn't see any hint of the symbiote leaking out during what we saw of Eddie's time there. So unless Cassidy's already been exposed to a symbiote off-screen, how will he end up as Carnage? Well, we need to recap what symbiotes are still left by the end of the Venom movie and how Cassidy will be exposed to one. The Life Foundation extracted 4 distinct symbiote samples from the comet. There was the black one, Venom, who currently inhabits Eddie. There was a blue one and a yellow one, and each of those died in the movie when their hosts died, one of which was Jenny Slate's character Dr. Dora Skirth. The 4th sample was Riot, the symbiote which escaped after the Life Foundation spacecraft crashed in Malaysia. Riot hopped around from host to host, passing from the EMT technician to the old woman in the market, then to the little girl at the airport, and finally on to Drake. But Riot died together with Drake during the rocket explosion. Remember, there are just 2 things which can kill a symbiote: fire and a sustained sound above a certain frequency. What's even more important to recall though is that there are millions of other symbiotes still on that comet that's presumably passing through or near our solar system. And debris that breaks off from comets often ends up as meteorites when they fall into the Earth's atmosphere. So what if a red symbiote fell to Earth via a meteor? It might even crash land in San Quentin prison and help Cletus Cassidy escape. By the way, in the comics, Carnage is such a powerful villain that Venom has typically teamed up with Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four to combat the evil symbiote. At the moment, Sony's deal with Marvel Studios means Spider-Man can only appear in the MCU, not any of Sony's current films. However, after Avengers 4 and Spider-Man Far From Home, Tom Holland's Peter Parker will have appeared in 5 MCU movies, and it's possible that Sony could pull Spider-Man back into their own Marvel universe to appear in a Venom sequel. Bonus Easter egg time now, the way that Cassidy writes "Welcome Eddie" in blood inside his cage is a little hat tip to how his character leaves the phrase "Carnage rules" in various places in the comics. If you didn't manage to stay all the way through the very long and pretty slow moving credits, you probably missed the second end credit scene, which was a tease for Sony's animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie. The scene begins with a comic book pop-up graphic, meanwhile in another universe, indicating that the animated movie exists in a different reality to the Venom movie. What we see next is not a trailer, but a full-length scene. The animation on show looks fantastic, however it doesn't have any impact on Venom or any future Venom sequel, so it feels a little disconnected as it's basically just an extended advert. Of course, Marvel has simply shown scenes from upcoming movies as post-credit scenes, however they do all exist within the same universe, so it doesn't feel quite as odd. Now, if you enjoyed Venom, what was your favourite moment in the movie? Or if you didn't like it, let me know why in the comments below. For a chance to win an awesome Venom Funko Pop, just make sure you're a subscriber and leave me a comment about the movie. The winner of my Captain Marvel Funko Pop is on screen now, and if you're the winner, message me via email to claim the prize. Tap left to watch my Marvel playlist, or tap right for another video you're sure to like. And if you enjoyed this video, I really appreciate a thumbs up and a share. Thanks for watching and see you next time, yippee-ki-yay movie lovers!